The question, can AI replace Darth Vader? The story is like one day, back in the day, in New York City. I'm sitting in my studio with my clients, mixer staff, assistant producers, all of us listening to gentle snoring in high fidelity. Big expensive speakers, big expensive microphone, capturing every nuance of the snoring. It was like beautiful ASMR. I mean, it was mesmerizing. We've been in the middle of recording a pile of scripts, and we still had a way to go, but I didn't want to disturb him. I didn't want to wake up the snorer. I was the director of the session, and it was my job to move the session along. You know, time equals money. But the voice drifting off to sleep was not just any voice. It was James Earl Jones. Star Wars, Lion King, Field of Dreams. Dozens of roles, movies, television, theater, all utilizing the amazing, warm, resonant pipes of this man who is snoring in my booth. James has this soft smile, and I think it sort of drips down into his vocal cords. And I think that is the secret of his honeycomb tone. His being, his essence of who he is in his voice. He doesn't push it, he doesn't pretend, he doesn't put on voices. He just sits in front of a microphone and speaks. He has a gift, right? I mean, he can read a phone book, right? And that phone book will sound like the Bible or something like that. I was reading recently that he had made a deal with the voice clone operation, Respeecher. So you have to ask yourself, is the next Darth Vader voice you hear going to be James Earl Jones or James Earl clone? An analysis at Constellation Research said about the AI deal for Jones' voice, quote, "He's graciously donating his voice to create voice cloning for conversational AI, which would be great. I see this as growing in many areas," unquote. I gotta tell you, that's kind of tough to read. You know, it's full of what I call corpy speak. I mean, honestly, graciously donating. I doubt that off the bat. First of all, it might be gracious because James Earl Jones is naturally a gracious person, but donating? I don't think so. I think what James is doing is making a legacy for his family, for his family's wealth. I mean, he has an amazing gift. So why not preserve it in amber, right? Graciously donating. And then this other bit, let's see. Create voice cloning for conversational AI. Wow. I think AI wrote that phrase. Create voice cloning for conversational AI, as opposed to what? I don't know. Look, these executives, they get on a roll, there's no getting out of their way. They're going to steamroll us onto the ground. They're going to wag their executive fingers at us. They're going to call a bunch of lawyers, make sure they're protected. And the lawyers are going to make a lot of lawyer speak, and on it goes. Come on. We're in a post-ethics society, post-ethics culture. PEC. Yeah, that's where we're living. Like the last 20 years have been ridiculous with this stuff. He didn't stop there. He had some other stuff to say. No, actually, this is from the article Tech Talker. Let me read this to you. Voice cloning comes in various forms, including AI technology, that translates text into speech, as well as speech into speech. When AI mimics a person's voice, speech to speech is the type of voice cloning that will clone James Earl Jones' voice. Tech Talker. That's a quote from Tech Talker. Voice cloning takes different forms, including AI that converts text to speech, AI that replicates a person's voice by transforming speech into speech. The speech-to-speech method will be used to clone Jones' voice. I mean, look, it is a kind of a tech magic, and I've played with it a little bit. It will record my voice and turn my voice into an 8-year-old boy. You know, it's fascinating. I'm not going to say it's not. Respeecher put out a statement that said this: speech to speech is more for controllability and fine emotion. These guys are on a train. They're on the AI train. There's no stopping it. They're going to shove this stuff down our throat, and we're going to be AIs. I mean, we might as well just clone ourselves and all be bots. We can live forever. I think that's the ultimate goal, right? We can join the matrix. We can become a singularity with all that ever was in the digital domain. I think that's the goal. This all brings us to this question of privacy. To misuse people's voices. Come on, let's be real. That's already happening. We're not going to get from here to November 5th, the election in 2024, without a lot of bad actors doing a lot of bad things. I mean, bad actors doing bad things. You can count on it, really. You can count on it. So, is voice cloning going to have substantial influence on political campaigns? What do you think? What do you think? It's going to be crazy, is what I think. It's going to be crazy. I've spent a lot of time with these voices, especially on the Platform 11 lab. And it's always tempting for me to use these voices because my output is pretty high. I put out a lot of scripts. I put out a lot of audio dramas. I put out a lot of songs. I mean, I am an audio artist. So yeah, I'm looking at this stuff. I have this whole show about robots. So I tried it. I tried some of the voices on 11 Lab, but they were too roboty. I brought in actors and they just did a much better job. So they just don't move me, these AI voices, the way human voices do. When I sit in my studio and I'm editing, if I'm editing human voice, I get kind of charged up about it. If I edit these AI voices, it's drudgery, okay? It's drudgery. It's like, whoa, I don't know. You know what? I'm an artist. I'm not a technician. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know what the difference is. I just know that one winds me up and gets me going and gives me energy, and the other is like deflating air out of me, making me a flat tire. I have to kind of put my cap on backwards, roll up my sleeves, and work with the AI voices. You know, it's just not as much fun. I guess when I think about it, the handicap of AI is it's reflective. It relies on something done before. You know what I mean? It's like it needs something else to give you what you want. There's nothing original. It cannot break unexpected ground, new insights. It's just going to regurgitate what it finds and give that back to you. Eventually in my studio on that day, James wakes up and we resume recording. He has a personal producer in the booth with him who sometimes reads the copy. James listens and repeats what he's heard. He has trouble seeing and he's dyslexic. But however he starts, when he's reading, he's owning the words in a way no one else is. No one else can. I know that this may not be clear. I mean, I've been thinking about this, but there's just something about his performance that just, it's there, it's spontaneous, it's the way he's feeling, and that comes out in his reads. And I think that's what's always made him a great voice, a great actor. I mean, he's one of the best. And I think he's one of the best because he knows who he is and he lives his life from his heart. Now, clones don't need naps. I can hear an account executive coming into my office and saying, like, you know what, I've been looking at this budget. Have you considered clones? And I'd be like, I don't know. He'd say, you know, clones don't need naps. I was in that session where James was napping. Clones don't need naps. True, they don't. Or residuals, royalties, or unions, or session fees. They don't need any of that. I mean, you can get a subscription to 11 Labs and you're off and running, you know? And what I know, I've been in this business a long time working with account execs. Those guys, they're going for that like a dog to a bone. You're just not going to be able to stop it. I can see a future for clone voices, AI voices. You know, automated customer service utilities. I mean, why not? Why not? And I'm sure James Earl Clone will have some moments as the technology unfolds. I'm sure of it. I'm sure. But I'm also sure that James Earl Clone will retain none of the true value of the real James Earl Jones. Ultimately, the real gold of James Earl Jones is his performance. His performance is crafted fresh for each role. The insights and subtleties, the thing that builds from the heart and connects his character to us, the audience, that will never be cloned.